TVweb.com.
Actually, a big fan of yours. I loved your arc on Prison Break. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's a big difference going from Prison Break to something like this. Was that a deliberate choice that you wanted to make?
It was. It was absolutely deliberate. I have a 9-year-old niece who doesn't get to see anything I do, either because the subject matter is too adult or it's too violent, and so there you go.
Definitely with Prison Break, you don't want her seeing any pretty much nothing you did on that show.
Also, she scares very easily, as I did when I was little. I could not watch a horror movie. I couldn't watch anything with violence. I would be hiding behind the couch, even at the suggestion of it. So she's like my little other, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
She's just like me. So I called her and I said, Megan, I made a movie for you. And she's pretty excited about it.
Oh, fun. But she hasn't got a chance to see it yet.
No.
Awesome.
August 14th.
August, so she'll get to see it.
She said, hang on, Jodi, I have to write that down, which I thought was so great.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Well, tell me a little bit about what you're doing in this film, your character. I know she's a single mom, and tell me a little bit about the story.
She's a single mom, and she's got a beautiful little boy who has health issues. And she's just basically struggling all the time to make ends meet. She can't hold down a job. Her son keeps getting sick, so she gets called away from work to pick him up from school. And it's not just he's getting sick. She's constantly rushing him to the emergency room. No insurance, can't pay for medication. It's become overwhelming, and she needs to have a job where she can have some benefits and some stability in her life. And she gets involved in a program where they sort of assign her a mentor, I guess you call it, from the local college. And she gets paired up with someone she immediately dislikes, who she thinks is very privileged and has never had a problem before. And so for me, it was a nice story of don't judge a book by its cover, but on both ends, for him and for her. Right. So it was great. And I end up falling in love. Am I not supposed to say that?
No, I think you're fine to say that. Well, but what I wanted to ask was, that was very interesting what you said. It was a don't judge a book by cover from both ends, because it's really, he has expectations when he meets you, and then you have certain expectations when you first meet him.
We immediately do not like one another. Although my character is not very easy to get along with. She's really stubborn. So.
Right, but that starts to change at a certain point. So what is sort of the catalyst, or what are some of the emotions that start to change for your character and start to see him in a different light?
Well, I think it's from trust. I think I start to trust him, and I think he opens up to me a little bit, and I can see that he's not what I thought he was. And so I start to soften towards him, and it goes from there. I think she's this way because she's so defensive, people coming into her life, especially, she's got a son, so you have to be careful who you allow to come in and, that kind of thing. So.
Was that easy to sort of relate to, because you're not a mother yourself?
I'm not a mother.
Okay.
I'm a mother of animals.
But just sort of like to put yourself in those shoes and relate to how, tell me about playing a mother, basically.
Well, I couldn't have had a better time. Maxwell, I'm in love. I think I may have asked his parents 4 or 5 times if it was okay if I adopted him. He was just the greatest. I love kids,
and you had no problem working, because they say actors don't want to work with children or animals. You know that saying.
Yeah. And I've had that happen to me before, where I'm like, oh my God, this is the pits. Like if you have an animal who just doesn't want to be there or whatever, and then I've always had really good experience with children, so I think I've been really lucky. But he was amazing. He wanted to be there. He was having a better time than all of us put together. So he and his little brother on set, so it was easy. And also, his days were 8 hours at the most, with school. Right. So, it's great.
So he was easy to work with.
He was fantastic.
And then as far as playing a mom and kind of getting into those shoes, and then with the sickness, did you have to sort of is it a specific?
He has asthma.
Oh, in the film, the character.
In the movie. And so he's constantly with his inhaler, and it's severe asthma. So.
Was there a lot of research you sort of did into that?
I just, I looked it up. I wanted to know what would happen during an asthma attack, and just so I could be sure, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he was great. He looked like a pro when he was having his asthma attack. So on the floor and not being able to breathe and the whole thing. It was great.
And it was, obviously, even having your niece and then having, the animals that you take care of. So obviously tapping into that sort of the emotion of, oh my God, what is happening here? And that wasn't a challenge for you.
No, I wanted to take care of him the minute I met him. But I'm sort of like that with people in general, I think. So it was just a smaller version. I hope I have kids one day. So, that was kind of like a little bit of a test drive.
The role was a little bit of a test to see.
Yeah.
Oh, very good, very good. Did you pass the test a little bit?
I really confirms it every time. I really just love being around them. So.
Great, awesome. And tell me about working with Hallmark, because they have such a great track record for making these types of films that not only have obviously a great story to tell, but an emotional core that people can, a good message to them as well.
I loved it. I loved every part of it because it was a really beautiful little story. It was nonviolent. It was something that my younger family could relate to, and also the crew and the people that work there. It was like a family. And so for me, it's like kind of a quick process. You go in and you're done within a couple of months, and to feel that close to everyone right away was kind of amazing. So I really miss everybody a lot from the set.
Is it hard to find material like that? I mean, is it hard to find a project that isn't, like you said, violent, right? Because I would imagine off of Prison Break and the other stuff you've done, you get a lot of the action girls and that kind of stuff,
Which I
right?
love. Don't get me wrong. I love it, and I love that. I love it all, to be honest with you. But it is hard for me to find that kind of thing because a lot of people don't associate me with that anymore. So it was really, really nice that they offered that to me and wanted me to come and do that project.
Yeah, and this gives you really a chance to sort of show the acting chops that you have, as well as being able to kind of play a different type of character than what we've seen, right?
Then instead of punching someone in the face.
or torturing someone, or cutting the
head.
That's of course, yeah. Yeah.
But don't get me wrong, that's the most fun I've ever had. Is being a badass, because I am not in real life. So it's, I'm usually doing all that kind of stunt work with a big grin on my face, and they're like, "Don't smile, it doesn't look scary." And I have to, oh, right, I'm serious now.
That's awesome. And working with Justin on because he plays the lead, right?
Awesome.
Yeah.
He was the sweetest. He was wonderful to me. The director, Dave Cass, was, I don't have enough nice things to say about him. He just, every day, how are you doing? How's your day? He was just really involved with everything and so sweet and really just kind of let me do my thing. And I adore him.
Was there anything that he asked of you, maybe emotionally, that you weren't prepared for, you weren't quite sure, not prepared for, but not quite sure of, and he sort of was like, "No, I know you can do this," and kind of, was there anything that sort of was a challenge that you kind of had to overcome?
He was so helpful the whole time. I don't know if there was any one specific moment. The thing that he really let me do was, if I wanted to do another take after we'd gotten what we needed, he always let me do that, which was great. There was one emotional scene coming home from the hospital, and I don't have my son with me, and I'm alone. And we got through it, and I said, "Dave, can we have one more?" And he said, "This one's for you, absolutely." And that's sort of how we carried on.
Oh, that's great.
So I got to do other things. I could take it a little bit over the top if I wanted, or I could, underplay it a little bit. As long as we got what Hallmark needed and what he needed, then he gave me a moment. Because everything else was so fast. Honestly, we got everything done. Everyone was happy to be there. It was on such an amazing schedule. So by the end, just like, okay, your turn.
It sounds like there was just a lot of trust, like from your end and from his end.
Yeah, Dave did that. That was me trusting Dave and him being behind the camera and never saying cut with him the scene, never saying action. He just, we're rolling and he was ready, and then when we were done, the scene was over, we all knew.
Oh, what a great way to work.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
I want to work with him again. I want to do a Western with Dave.
Oh, really?
I do. That's Dave's thing.
Dave's thing, is that something that he brought up, or you brought up?
He brought it up, and he put me on a horse halfway through the Hallmark movie and said, "Oh, we have to do this again sometime." And I said, "How would you make me look on a horse and it looks like I know what I'm doing?" Yes. That's he had a step stool waiting for me that he edited out. So I looked like a pro. I just, jumped right up on a horse and ready to go and had the reins. And
oh, that's awesome. Oh, yeah, that'd be great to see you in
I would
some
love
kind
it,
of a Western
because
like
it combines
that.
all my favorite things.
Yeah.
Then I can be physical, and I can, maybe be a badass, maybe not. I don't know, but there's a lot of room there.
That's great.
And I've never done that before, so.
A Western. Yeah. No. Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah. Yeah, and they're kind of coming back. We've seen them back and forth over the last couple of years, so that'd be great.
I love old movies, so that's like, when I was a kid, I watched that kind of thing with my grandfather, or, any old black and white movie pretty much, so.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Was there a message of the film that you think was really going to kind of catch on with single moms? Is there something that sort of, as far as like kind of sticking in there and keeping your family together? I mean, there is a strong message in the film.
I think the message in the film is to keep your faith and to hang in there and you know, no matter what, she puts everything for her son first. And I think that that was amazing. Everything was about that little boy, and she struggled, but it was about him and her relationship with him and keeping her bond to her family and her sister. And I also really think it's a don't judge a book by its cover on every single level, because I know a lot of people have a problem with that. I do. I'm guilty of it half the time. You know, it's just first impression.